Ladies and gentlemen, do we have an interesting episode of Attack on Cowboys today? Apparently, the Dallas Cowboys could be open for business as it pertains to Micah Parsons. Allegedly, I'm going to just go ahead and say this right now. I don't believe it. And an update on the sexual assault lawsuit by Jerry Jones and questions as to why aren't we talking about this much more than we actually are. Well, we're going to change that today. Let's get right into it and be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the radio. All right, so the first bit of news we're going to take a look at today is an NFL insider is saying that teams interested in Micah Parsons should give the Dallas Cowboys, quote unquote, a call. Albert Breer is saying that the Cowboys might be open for business as it pertains to one Dallas Cowboy, Micah Parsons. Now, the main thing that's being mentioned here is the fact that Jerry and the front office may have some consternation as it pertains to paying Micah Parsons. Now, even though we've heard the opposite of that, pretty much anytime Steven and Jerry have spoken in public, they have never given inkling towards they don't want Micah here. The most you can possibly glean from any comment they've ever made about Micah Parsons as to they might not want him here is Steven Jones talking about them having to take a step back and discuss whether or not it's so smart to be heavily invested in so few players on the team. That's probably the only comment you can possibly take that the Jones family has ever made that would make it be like, hey, they may be looking at trading Micah Parsons. Outside of that, everything else seems to be speculation and building rumblings, which we've heard these same rumblings since last season. Remember when Jesse Holley came out and said not everyone in that building are the biggest fans of Micah Parsons. Now, I just don't see this happening, but an NFL insider, Albert Breer, has said that any team that's willing to pay about $40 million per season for a Micah Parsons contract and willing to part with multiple picks should give the Cowboys a call. He said, quote, "There's been enough noise on Micah Parsons' relationships inside the Cowboys building over the last year to put anyone's radar up for a trade, with Parsons potentially commanding $40 million per year on a second contract. If you're willing to pay that, plus high-end picks for a uniquely talented defensive star, I'd give Dallas a call." Now, I can just feel it right now. I can feel all the angry Micah Parsons fans in my comments watching this video right now. I can feel y'all bristling at the idea of losing your quote-unquote best defensive piece. But I'm going to tell you something, man. There's plenty of teams out there with almost interchangeable pass rushers who are productive as Micah or maybe a little bit more productive than Micah, that if they were willing to part with their pass rusher and give us a couple of first-round picks because they believe in Micah Parsons more as the face of a franchise, and any of those franchises being the Cleveland Browns or the Raiders with Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals, and they're willing to give up a first-round pick and another first-round pick or maybe a second or something along with that, I think it's something that you would seriously have to consider, especially considering that any of those guys are more than likely going to get paid a little bit less than a Micah Parsons. Now, it's probably not going to be anything substantially less, but it's probably going to be less than a Micah Parsons would be paid. Now, again, this is all just speculation right now, so we're not going to invest too much time into this. And no, I am not going to impose my criticisms on any trade rumors concerning Micah Parsons and say, yeah, we need to do it. Absolutely not. Unless something that just blows your socks off comes across the docket, I just don't really believe that you can get rid of a Micah Parsons. But his antics are growing a little bit tired, and be sure to subscribe because I'm going to have another video, and I'm not the only person that feels that way. One of the best to ever do it feels that way as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, so be sure to subscribe. Now, let's get into what I feel is the most important part of this news segment for us today, and that is the fact that the assault lawsuit against Jerry Jones has been delayed again. The trial for that lawsuit has been delayed again until August 11th. Now, let's go ahead and go through this article, and then we're going to talk about why haven't we been seeing more of this? Why are we not leaning into this more? Because this honestly could be, if you needed any vehicle, this could be the vehicle to Vince McMahon, Jerry Jones. I think it's time. I think it's one of those situations where his dirt is probably going to catch up to him sooner rather than later. And situations like this, especially the way they've just been trying to push it off and push it off and push it off. They're essentially trying to push this off until Jerry kicked the bucket. I'm convinced Jerry has probably one of the criminal defenses in the history of criminal defenses. Just get the trial delayed with your infinite amount of money until you kick the bucket. I mean, hey, It looks like it's effective so far, but let's go through this article real quick. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones had a civil lawsuit pending against him delayed again. Via Lana Ferguson of the Dallas Morning News, the claims of a South Carolina woman will go to trial on August 11th. Probably not. It's probably going to get delayed again. As soon as we creep on August, that last week of July, we're going to see assault lawsuit has been delayed again, another 6 months. I'm telling you, right? The case previously was due to begin on March 3rd. The woman alleges that Jones, quote unquote, kissed her on the mouth and forcibly grabbed her without her consent during a Cowboys home game on September 16th, 2018. The lawsuit was originally filed in 2020. Oh my gosh, I just had a whole ass nightmare just imagining that situation. Could y'all imagine being this unsuspecting woman, allegedly, and all of a sudden you see the crypt keeper talk about some, oh, come here, girl, I'm real happy my Cowboys just put them giants in the dirt, and I'm real happy. Come give Uncle Jerry some sugar. Could you imagine? Oh, heck no, bruh. And then the fact that this was originally filed in 2020, that lets you know we're probably never going to see the end of this case, bruh. The Joneses are going to push this off until there's nothing, until she probably can't afford to keep going with this case. The case had been set for trial on March 18th, 2024, before being bumped to March 2025. So that's nuts. Look how long it actually took for something to materialize from this. The lawsuit was originally filed in 2020. The case had been set for a trial on March 18th, 2024. Oh my gosh, we're not going to see the end of this, y'all. We're not going to see the end of this. As much as I would like to use this as a mechanism to try to forcibly remove Jerry from the franchise, I just money talks, money walks. Per the latest article about the case, Jones has submitted an affidavit explaining that he does not recall meeting the woman. In the document, he also calls the allegations categorically false. How can you call the allegations false if you don't remember meeting her, Jerry? I'm just going to say this right now. Old people, it don't take much. A couple of maker's marks and Jerry's going to be up out of there. I'm just saying, bro, you might have been intoxicated, and Jerry, we know you likes to get down with the drinkity drink. So, oh no, Jerry, your defense is a little sketchy here. The affidavit apparently was issued in an effort to keep Jones from submitting to deposition testimony regarding the accusations. It's unclear whether it did the trick. Even if he claims he doesn't recall the events central to the case, it's fair and proper to determine what he does and doesn't remember from the day in question. The Cowboys beat the Giants that day, 20-13. Holy crap, I didn't even know that they were really playing the Giants when I just made that Jerry joke. I am clairvoyant, boy. It's also fair to pose questions as to whether Jones has a habit of randomly kissing strangers or anyone on the mouth before, during, or after games. We're not saying he does, but there's far more to this case than whether he recalls meeting and kissing one specific person who was ultimately feisty enough to sue over it. Ultimately, the case will come down to the credibility of the alleged victim. If Jones has no recollection of meeting the woman, he wouldn't have any recollection of kissing her. And if he says he never kisses anyone at any time during games, he opens the door to evidence that might rebut this claim. So no, he shouldn't be exempt from deposition testimony, and yes, there are things he could say beyond "I never met her" that may be relevant to the case. All right, very, very interesting stuff right there. So y'all hear Jerry Jones is apparently, he's dealing with some more legal situations after he just finished, settling with the whole situation with his estranged child. Now we still have this sexual lawsuit pending against Jerry Jones. I'm just going to say this, man. Obviously, we got to give due course for the legal situation to take course. Everything is alleged that we talked about as we discuss anything with legal ramifications to it, whether it be Joy Taylor or the Dak situation last year. It's all alleged, right? But I'm going to say this, man. There's pictures on the internet. You can find Jerry hugged up with some women that are probably a few decades younger than Jerry, and his hands may be in some suggestive places. Jerry's not doing the old savvy air hug, but how they hug people now, where they kind of just have it hovering away from their body a little bit, so their body might be right here, and the dude might have his hand like this on the picture or something. Jerry wasn't doing that. Jerry be full grips on that mug and probably trying to get a little something in that crevice a little bit. But I'm not going to sit here and accuse Jerry of anything, and I'm not going to run with this because, again, you just never know how these situations turn out, and nothing comes from it, and now you look like a jackass because you led a whole train against Jerry trying to get him put out his team, and ain't nothing to it. So we got to wait for something materializes out of this. Maybe wait for the trial, maybe for some depositions and some testimonies to come out, and really have more to sink our teeth into to know whether or not this is something Jerry really actually did or not. But as of right now, I mean, this may be our most likely option is to push the Cowboys front office in another direction, because if he was found guilty of this, I think the NFL will be hard-pressed not to be forced to do something to make Jerry Jones a little bit less visible with that Cowboys franchise if one of their owners gets charged with a sexual assault case, right? So that would be a very, very interesting territory. And again, if Cowboys fans want Jerry out that bad, this right here may be your best. This may be your best avenue. So you might just have to keep waiting until this trial gets delayed and delayed and delayed again, until you finally get something out of this. But very interesting stuff here for the latest on the Dallas Cowboys news today. And be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the regular, like I told you earlier. And how about them Cowboys?
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.